Congressman Madison Cawthorn has filed a lawsuit to try and stop a group of voters who want him disqualified from running for re-election.
The group claims Cawthorn took part in the January 6th insurrection, which he denies. News 13's Kimberly King has been talking with legal experts about how this could all play out. So, Kim, what have you learned?
Holly, this is the 20-page filing that Madison Cawthorn filed in the Eastern District of U.S. Federal Court in the state. This is what we're looked at today and what now lawyers are commenting on.
Congressman Madison Cawthorn declined News 13's request for an interview today, but in a statement said the challenge to his eligibility violates his First Amendment rights. Running for office, he said, is not only a great privilege, it's a right protected under the Constitution. Chris Cooper is chair of Western Carolina's Political Science Department.
There's been a challenge against him. It makes sense that he is going to retaliate in his own way. He is trying to argue that this is his right as an American to run for office and that the state board shouldn't be allowed to weigh in.
Cawthorn's lawsuit is against North Carolina's election board members. A petition before them aims to disqualify Cawthorn from running, alleging he participated in the insurrection, which is laid out in the 14th Amendment as a disqualifier. The petition seeks to force Cawthorn to testify under oath about January 6th.
Is this just a game of bluster in your mind?
You know, I think it's more than that, right? So the initial challenge filed by a series of folks, including two former North Carolina State Supreme Court justices, they're arguing that because he participated in January 6th, which they are defining as an insurrection, that it is that he shouldn't be able to run for office.
An attorney with knowledge of the case tells News 13 the key point in Cawthorn's suit is language about what's called the younger abstention that argues the North Carolina Board of Elections has no authority to decide the constitutional issues before the court. Chris Cooper says the goal of the lawsuit is to prevent the state panel review of Cawthorn.
If they decide to hear it, that panel of 5 folks will have to have Madison Cawthorn under oath. Essentially, he'll have to argue that he was not part of an insurrection.
Tonight, in a statement to News 13, co-counsel for the challengers stated, "It is unfortunate that Cawthorn has decided to run to federal court. Cawthorn's attempt to bypass the state's well-developed procedures for resolving candidacy challenges is based on misunderstandings of federal and state law. We intend to intervene in this federal court case."
More people who have nowhere to go will now be protected from dangerously cold temperatures.
Tonight, Buncombe County commissioners doubled the funding for Code Purple. News 13's Samir Nefsi has more on the boost of the program and the impact it could have.
The need remains high for Buncombe County emergency shelters for the homeless population. The call to increase funding has been answered by Buncombe County commissioners who approved $40,000 additional dollars to Code Purple resources.
Well, this is very important as we look at how to really stretch our already stretched resources.
The funding increase is happening at a much needed time. 2 Code Purple shelters recently closed because of staffing issues.
I think it's so clear that we are seeing not just the temperatures drop on some very cold nights, but just the level of need in our community grow around this.
The hope is the additional money can cover staffing needs and the day-to-day operations at the shelters.
We're really working with these men on getting a job. We're working on them connecting with mental health and substance abuse services. And we hope all that leads to stability and then a job that might lead them to permanent housing.
On average, the ABCCM shelter at 141 Hillside Street can cost up to $2,000 a day to operate.
We really want to make sure that no one who wants to come in doesn't have a place to go, that they can come in.
One thing that I have heard.
The conversation also highlighting the need for long-term housing solutions.
What I think happens is 2 things. One, there's a very long gap between the need for permanent supportive housing and the ability to access that permanent supportive housing.
The Homeless Initiative Advisory Committee has set a benchmark goal to get people who are reported as homeless off the streets and into housing in less than 90 days.
Everyone is ready for housing, and most everyone does want housing, and that is what Housing First is all about, right? So let's bring people in, no preconditions, regardless of requirements, in order to get them stable and in order to meet their needs.
The additional $40,000 will now bring Code Purple funding by Buncombe County to $80,000. ABCCM says in addition to the funding increase, they still need help with volunteering staff.
Millions of dollars from the American Rescue Plan will soon be given out to Asheville organizations.
The money was approved by Congress last year to help communities hit hard by the pandemic.
News 13's Caitlin Pinter followed the live stream of a meeting this morning. That's where City Council began the process of distributing that money.
Asheville City Council is trying to figure out how to give out nearly $18 million worth of America Rescue Plan funds. At their first work session on this, a variety of organizations made their pitch for the money.
Good morning.
Tuesday kicked off 2 days of listening sessions for Asheville City Council as organizations pitched their projects, from plans to fight food insecurity to building more affordable housing.
ABCLT's proposal would create at least 10 housing units that would remain affordable in perpetuity despite future market shifts.
Organization leaders talked about how COVID has impacted the communities they work with. The ultimate goal of ARPA money is to support recovery efforts. Asheville Greenworks presented its plan to build the workforce.
In partnership with the YMI Cultural Center, Greenworks will launch the Tree Keeper Training Program that will engage young people of color from marginalized communities in a workforce development program to become professionals in the tree service industry.
Making sure communities of color in Asheville are supported was another common request. Jay Hackett spoke on behalf of Black Wall Street.
For example, our Black chiropractors need an x-ray machine. Some people need laptop computers. And we want to expand to serve youth during the Black Wall Street Junior.
The Asheville Downtown Association's pitch is something that's talked about a lot. They want to do a survey, asking business owners, visitors, and locals for their opinions on downtown.
We often hear, I don't go downtown anymore from locals. We want to better understand why and what it will take to change these perceptions.
The city of Asheville has already spent $8.3 million worth of the $26.2 million total ARPA funds it got. It's gone toward things like parking revenue loss, the plans with Step Up for the Ramada Inn, as well as the homeward bound acquisition of the Days Inn. City Council plans to announce the initial awards of the remaining money in March or April.